And we have Congo African gray eggs here. So exciting. Love my parrot. We have some lovebird and English budgie egg, I think, here. Ooh, that scared me. I said, oh my goodness, they're moving in the egg. It's too early. Hi guys, sorry we're a little late tonight. We're just running a little behind. Thank you for joining us tonight for our Royal Parrots parrot question and answer. I have a few questions tonight that I have been sent, and we're going to start off with those. I just want to update everyone on our sanctuary and our oops, hold on. Ooh. Just wanting to update everyone on where we've been the past couple weeks. I apologize that we haven't been on. We have been out of town looking for a piece of land for our sanctuary and for our new aviary. And it's been super interesting. I think everyone has heard that the real estate market has boomed, and pieces of land and any type of acreage, even homes, have gone up in price like crazy. And so our original budget that we had for a piece of land is sort of finding us a lot less land. So we're going to have to settle for a smaller piece of land. But, you know, I'm super faithful, I'm super hopeful that we will starting off with a small piece of land, we'll still get to our goal, we'll still get to what we want in the end, to a really to a larger sanctuary, a larger aviary for our feathered friends who tend to need a forever home because they're not pet quality, or they are sick, or they're traumatized, they're a rescue. And eventually that is our end goal here at Royal Parrots, and we can't wait. I am sorry, I lost my voice sometime between now and this past week, so I hope you guys can understand me. Hi, Dennis, my wonderful husband. Hi, Areito. Thank you for joining us tonight. Here, we have a little parrot joining us. Babe, I don't remember his name. I think his name was Dexter. My fault. They gave me his name and I forgot to note it down. He's actually a new addition to Royal Parrots. Barely came a few days ago. A lady reached out to our business number, which I'm not sure if we have that listed or not. I know we just barely fixed our phone. Our phone was broken for the longest time, and I've been so busy, but I barely went and got it fixed. So our phone is working. If you have any type of questions or you're looking to adopt, our phone number is 847-695-5624. I'll list it on our website and I'll list it on our Facebook page. You're welcome to call with any questions about adoption or anything that you might need. But I had a customer or someone tell me that they had a relinquishment, a pet relinquishment, and it wasn't a rescue, or it wasn't a trauma. She had bought the bird about maybe 7-8 years ago, and at the time her children were younger, and it was a family bird, and a little parrot. Here he is, and you know, the kids grew up, which is a fairly normal story. The kids grew up, they, you know, starting their own lives. I think they were in high school, or I'm not sure if one went to college, and they no longer could take care of the baby bird. And the mom didn't have time to take care of him either, so she asked if we would take him. Thank you for trusting us with your baby, by the way. And what I thought was really cool was that when my husband came home with the cage, I said, that cage setup looks really familiar. And I said, that's actually what I used to sell in my storefront. And so out of curiosity, I texted her and I said, where did you get your baby by chance? And sure enough, she's like, oh, AJ something in Elgin, like 7 or 8 years ago. And I was like, no way, that's my baby. So I actually got my baby back. And I always think that's really cool when I get to see the babies that I've raised years later. He's actually super nice. He's going through a molt right now. He's a little male parrotlet, a Pacific parrotlet. You can always, it's awesome because you can always tell the sex visually with Pacific parrotlets. The males have a blue rump. And a female will not. The female will have the same color as the body. And that is the way you visually sex a Pacific parrotlet. Pacific parrotlets are also popular because they have that cute little eyeliner that everyone loves. For whatever reason, a lot of customers just went crazy over that. Now there are other parrotlets, and I forget their name. Maybe Dennis would know. He used to breed parrotlets, but there are different parrotlets. I think there's a Mexican parrotlet, a Mexican something, but not all of them have the blue butt area. Not all of them you can visually sex. Let's see, Dennis is saying, oh, so Dennis is saying the eye is actually a male trait, I think. He's looking at me. Little baby's listening to me. Is that right, babe? That the male parrotlet, the eyeliner is a male trait also? I thought that was both male and female. But maybe he's right. The eyeliner could be a male trait too. So if you have a parrotlet and you really don't know a lot about them, there's a little tip for you. If it's a Pacific parrotlet, you can always visually sex them. The little behind here, this is what we're talking about. That little dark blue area. If the Pacific parrotlet has that dark blue area, it is a boy. He's like, what are you doing? If he does not have that little dark blue area, it is a girl. So this is the baby I got back. I raised him about 7, 8 years ago. He is still super sweet. Really cool to see my baby as an adult and see how they come out. So let's start off with our questions today. Please share, please like our videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, please like our Facebook page, Royal Parrots, and please share these videos. It helps us keep our videos going. And Dennis is saying, oh, there's Pacific. Yes, that's what it was. There's green rumped, which the green rump I think has a green butt too for the males, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. The Mexican parrotlet, which I used to raise, those are really cool. Those are all green, but you just get excited because Mexican are a little bit more rare to find in the United States. And then the spectacle parrotlets, which I actually have never seen before. So I would actually be interested in looking up a picture of the spectacle parrotlet. So let's move forward to our first question of the night. Now, this question came from a customer, and it wasn't really a question, it was just a comment. So this is going to be more of a commenting questions discussion. I had a customer actually write to me several weeks ago. Now, this discussion is going to be about rescue birds. Now, rescue birds are really popular right now, at least in the United States. And I will tell you why. Because the rescue birds are a cheaper parrot to buy. Now, let me take a sip of coffee before we continue. Now, this is a customer. Once we started doing our live videos, she wrote to me and told me that a rescue bird that she had actually gotten from me, unfortunately, is not coming out of her cage still. And I think it's been about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years, because if I remember correctly, she got the bird before the pandemic. Excuse me, I think I have coffee in my mouth. So let's talk a little bit about that. because this is actually a fairly normal situation. Now let's talk about rescue birds in general. Rescue birds are popular because, let's all face it, rescue birds are cheaper than your typical baby bird. Now, why is that? Surprisingly enough, and not surprisingly, I think it's just a lack of education from the stores or the breeders to the customers. But the reason why a baby bird is more expensive than a breeder is because a baby bird is like a brand new car. When you get a baby bird, it's just like a human baby. They go through their honeymoon phase, and just like a puppy, they are brand new. Cognitively, they are brand new. You can teach them the habits that you want them to teach. You can teach them the routines that, you can teach them the habits that you want them to learn. You can teach them the routines that you want them to learn. It's very important when raising a parrot, you correct any behavior that you want to be corrected early before they become an adult. So having a baby parrot is just like Play-Doh. You can create what you need and create what you want with that baby parrot. Now, a lot of time, and this is why the baby parrots are more expensive, because you're starting fresh. You don't necessarily have any, he just disappeared behind my head, which is something parrotlets love to do. You don't necessarily have any behaviors. The only time you really have a behavior with a baby parrot is when a breeder or a trainer really hand feeds them, sticks them back in the box, and forgets about them. But that's another story for another day. So typically, you really don't have behaviors with the baby parrot. And that is why the baby parrots are more expensive. Now, when you deal with a rescue bird, boom, the first thing that you have to deal with are behaviors. Rescue birds happen for many reasons. The first reason is the obvious reason of trauma. Now, one particular situation that I hear all the time, which is very unfortunate, but it's very normal, is that a couple buys a parrot together. All of a sudden, the couple splits up. The couple hates each other. One of the boyfriend or the girlfriend or the husband or the ex-wife, they decide to fight for the bird because out of like spite. You know, we all know someone who has done that. They fight for the pet, not necessarily because they love the pet, but because they know it'll hurt the other person if they take the pet. Once they have the pet, whether it be the parrot or any other pet, you know, the pet gets neglected. Unfortunately, it is a very normal situation. We all know someone who has done it, or most of us know someone who has done it, and that is actually a very normal situation for a rescue parrot. Someone ends up with a parrot, usually out of spite after a split up. Murph, for instance, I have a yellow crown Amazon. He is a rescue bird. He was part of that situation. The couple split up. It was the boyfriend's bird initially. The ex-girlfriend ended up keeping the bird, and out of spite, because she related Murph to her ex-boyfriend, she kept Murph in an extra bathroom for 2 or 3 years. She only fed and watered him when she felt necessary. He had no toys, he had no social interaction, and he could not see even the outside of the bathroom, the daily living situation. So Murph is now terrified, and I don't know what else happened to him. That is the story that I got when I rescued him. And now Murph is terrified of people. Funny enough, he is terrified of women. He will go up to some men and he will go up to some boys. And he has interacted with them. He's even stepped up to a few men, and he has let a few boys pet him through the bars of the cage. When it comes to women, he's terrified. He wants nothing to do with them. I actually have to pretend, if I go and he's out of his cage and I want any type of interaction with Murph, I have to pretend like I'm ignoring him. I have to turn my back to his cage and pretend I'm like doing something else, and Murph will actually come and sneak up and start preening my hair. But if I turn around to acknowledge him, he freaks out and runs away and like flaps off. But anyway, back to rescue birds. Oh yes, actually Dennis is mentioning that another really normal situation for a rescue bird or rehoming is if a family member passes away too, which in its own situation is very traumatizing for parrots as well. But again, let's get back to the rescue birds. Hold on just a second, guys. You know, I told myself I was going to stop eating sugar again this past week because sugar just, obviously sugar is bad for everyone. But now I'm having like a sugar detox and my body's crashing because I'm not eating sugar, so I need the coffee. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Get this baby back out. So let's go back talking about rescue birds. Oh, he went away. Bella. Oh, never mind. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Please excuse us. Our room behind me. We're remodeling. Never mind. I just wanted you to get the bird baby. Don't worry. All right, I'm back. So, and this is the little baby that I just got back recently. I just was telling everyone earlier. A customer had called me, bought him from me about 7-8 years ago, and he's back. Just out of coincidence, she actually just called us because she needed someone she trusted to relinquish him at, and it turns out that I raised him, so that was pretty cool. So back to rescue birds. What a lot of stores and what a lot of rescues don't tell you is that parrots are very primitive. You can train a parrot as a baby, but if they get neglected in any way, or it doesn't even have to be a neglect. If you fail to keep up the training of a parrot through as it becomes an adult, or it even experiences a trauma because of their prehistoric traits, they have more tendency to revert back to their prehistoric ways in regard to fight or flight, in regard to a defense mechanism. And it's very hard to get them back to a tame state. That is the truth. If anyone tells you any differently, they're being dishonest. If you go to a bird rescue and they tell you, now I'm gonna get some hate mail on this, guys, because this is something that is known within the bird world, but is not told to a lot of customers. If you hear the phrase, he just needs a little work, that means that bird is going to bite you and they are just trying to get the bird off of their hands. It is very rare that successfully you can do a little work with an adult parrot and get them back to their state. The only way that works is if you really know the original breeder, and the original breeder knows exactly what's wrong with that bird, and they can tell you the history. They can tell you the history of when that bird was raised, where they went, the history of what they experienced, and how you can work with them. Unless that situation really happens, it is very rare that you can take a bird, not know its past, and work with it just a little and succeed in taming down a rescue adult parrot. Now again, I'm gonna get a lot of hate messages on this because this is something that's known but not said within the bird world, within bird stores, within bird rescues, and within bird breeders. For instance, let's talk about what type of parrots are in the rescues. Unfortunately, again, I'm gonna get more hate mail on this. A lot of people who have rescue parrots get breeder birds. Now, what's the difference between a breeder bird and a pet bird? A lot of breeder birds are never tamed. It is known that if you want a good breeder bird, you want that parrot to be parent raised so that they have their natural mating tendencies, their natural breeding tendencies. Because once you tame a parrot down, I mean, it's not funny enough, it's sort of like common sense, that bird loses his breeding tendencies. So a lot of the rescues have breeder birds, and when they are never tamed down, that means they're basically in their natural state. They're very aggressive, they bite. And then you have the rescue saying, if the rescue doesn't even know they have a breeder bird, they just get this like knockoff story, because sometimes rescues do purchase the rescue birds, and they don't know really the history. The rescue, all they're going to tell you is what they know how to say is, oh, just work with it a little and you'll probably get it to tame down. That unfortunately is a lie. So it's very rare you can tame down a breeder bird in its natural primitive state. Other traumas include, like Dennis said, an owner passing away. That can be very traumatic for a parrot. If you've had a parrot, you know what I'm talking about. Parrots bond very strongly to their owners, and especially when you've had a parrot for a very long time, and the bond continues to grow. The parrot sometimes even gets sick when that owner passes away, or sometimes they actually just hate everyone else. There's so many stories of it. Owners passing away, parents who are older, and when the kids try to take the parrot over, the parrot never bonds with anyone else. The parrot actually is very aggressive towards everyone else. That's another situation. But here's the thing too, guys, is there's so much information that goes with getting a rescue bird. But one big question that I have gotten is, why, if I get a rescue bird, why can't I get my money back? If I don't like, and that's another conversation for another day, because it's not about liking a rescue bird, it's about having the patience with a rescue bird, which again, another conversation for another day. The question is, why can't I get a refund of my rescue bird if we just don't get along or I don't like the bird? Well, here's the thing, is that adopting a rescue bird is not purchasing a couch from the wrong place. You can't just sit on it and be like, oh, never mind, wrong couch, I'm gonna return it. We're talking about animals here. We're talking about especially parrots. Parrots are such emotional creatures, and cognitively they're super smart. And when we readopt them and pass them around to different people, it is traumatizing to them. It is traumatizing to them, almost even more than a dog. I was gonna say cat, but almost even more than a dog that is a very emotional creature. They understand the process that they're being passed around. These creatures are hatched. They are born to this world to be in a flock. And when these creatures feel that they're in a flock, which usually is their human family, they love that flock so much. And when you just tear them away and adopt them out to someone else who doesn't like them, who adopts them out to someone else, they're in this process of chaos in their mind that they can't cognitively comprehend. And it's a re-trauma and re-trauma and re-trauma. So first of all, that is why most rescues don't offer refunds. Second, that rescue should have educated you enough to let you know that getting a rescue bird is a process. You need a very patient process with the bird. Sometimes it can take months for that bird to get used to you. Sometimes it can take years. And no one can guarantee you how long it's going to take. And that's the unfortunate truth about rescue birds. So if you don't have the patience for that, you should not be getting a rescue bird. I will gear you more towards a baby bird that you can bond with right away if you don't have the patience for a behavior bird, that you can bond with right away and set its routines and your likes and dislikes in him right away. Yes, and Dennis is perfectly right. He is commenting that is why we're trying to build a sanctuary, because some birds just need a forever home. And we're not talking about just traumatized birds. You guys, unfortunately in the breeder world, depending on the breeder and where these birds go from breeder to breeder, unfortunately there are breeders out there who have like the mills, who don't take care of their breeder parrots, who stick them in tiny cages, literally give them 1 or 2 months to breed. If they don't breed, they ship them across the United States to someone else who does the same thing, who gives them about 1 month to breed. They don't give them the right situations. The bird doesn't breed. Ooh, it's garbage. Yes, and I know that sounds harsh, but unfortunately I've met so many breeders that talk like that. That bird's garbage. Let me sell him. And then what happens is they sell the bird as a good bird. They're just sick. And again, knock on wood, some people do get sick, but unfortunately that's a very common excuse that people give. Oh, I'm downsizing my birds. Oh, I'm getting sick. But what really happened is that they kept the bird for a month or two. They called the bird garbage because the bird didn't breed for them, and now they're reselling it. And then it is so normal that in a span of 6 months, a parrot, a breeder parrot, has been traded at least 10 times. That is wild. That is wild. I've seen it. This is not anything that I'm making up. It is very normal that in a span of 6 months, if you have a breeder bird who is not producing, he can be traded up to 10 times or more to different people across the United States within the span of the 6 months. Can you imagine the trauma that bird is experiencing? And don't get me wrong, because, you know, I have breeder birds. I will never say don't. We breed here at Royal Parrots. We breed our own birds. But that's why I'll always tell you that how much I love Dennis, because he was one of the first breeders, and I do have recommended breeders. He was one of the first breeders I met that truly take care of their birds, and I was really impressed with his aviary and everything that I saw, from the quality food he would purchase that cost a little bit more to the lighting that he put and the attention that he put on the birds. So again, the sanctuary is not just for like rescue birds or traumatized birds. It's for breeder birds. It's for birds that will have a hard time in the end finding a forever family because they were never tamed, they were never trained, for trauma, for even, you know, even simple diseases. This is something I would like to do, but we would need the actual space eventually. There are certain diseases that a bird can get that doesn't necessarily reduce their quality of life. Sometimes you get a bird who loses his feathers because of PBFD, and I've dealt with PBFD before. They're not necessarily suffering. They lose their feathers and they look really scary. Do I believe, and now everyone has their own opinion on this, but do I believe a bird should be euthanized and killed because he loses his feather? It's just like saying, Joe Schmo should be euthanized because he didn't come out as handsome as everyone else. That's my opinion. And in the end, in our sanctuary, I would love a quarantine area, a section of, you know, if we have like 5 or 10 acres, I would love to have an acre that is quarantined and away from everyone else for the birds who normally would be euthanized, but aren't actually suffering. And I would love to give them a chance just to enjoy their life until they're ready to naturally pass on. But that's my dream. Everyone has their own dream. So that was, sorry, I went off into a tangent again, but that was the answer to, one of the answers to why can't I get a refund in rescue with rescue birds. Another reason why is sometimes, like, and this includes me, when there is a bird rehome who has behaviors and you really want to help the bird, a lot of times we're not getting a profit. It's usually just a favor, and it's usually just a consignment that we're dealing with. I'll give you an example. Is someone came, a lot of customers have come to me in the past 12, 15 years, and they asked me, you know what, Juliet, you know your customers, you know good people, you know people who aren't going to abuse their birds. Can you help me rehome my bird? I don't necessarily have the cash to give them, because not a lot of, not everyone wants to give away their parrot for free. Sometimes they do need their money back for financial reasons. Pandemic happened, they need a little money to help them survive certain situations. And I don't necessarily have the money to pay them for their bird. But what I do, and what a lot of people do, not just me, is we do a consignment. We take the bird. We have if you're a good consignment, if you're good at consignments, you really will take the history of that bird so you can match them with the right person. But whenever that bird is rehomed and whenever that bird is adopted, that money that you get for that bird goes straight to the customer. And it really is just a favor for that customer. When I did it, it was really just a favor. So I had a situation where a customer of mine, I tried to educate her on the troubles that a certain cockatoo had. And I tried to tell her to be patient, and he left. She, in her situation, unfortunately, we can never tell whether a rescue bird is going to have a good fit in a home or not. And in her situation, I tried to help her, but the bird wasn't quite adjusting. And the customer came back to me quite frustrated, I'll be honest. And she went from demanding her money back to wanting me to give her a baby in exchange for that rescue bird. But she put a lot of the blame on me. And I try to explain to her, this is why we educate our rescue birds. I spent a lot of time. I actually even told her, if you don't feel a rescue bird is for you, because what happened was that her pet bird died, and I had raised her umbrella cockatoo for her. And unfortunately, the umbrella cockatoo passed away. There was a freak accident and at her house, and her umbrella cockatoo passed away, and I knew how tame the baby was. And I had this rescue cockatoo that she wanted to try to work with because she missed her bond with her baby. And even though I educated her on having a rescue, I even mentioned to her, I tried to say, maybe you want to wait for a baby, because there's going to be such a big difference between rescue and baby. But she still, in the end, decided to get the rescue bird. And I did a favor, though. I did a favor for the other customer, and that was the problem, is she chose to take the rescue bird. It was a consignment. The money went directly back to the other person. I just did the favor. And when she approached me frustrated after a month of not being able to create a bond with the cockatoo, which I'll tell you, a month or so is still not enough time. Again, remember, it can take months to even years. I had to explain, she came at me like, why can't you just give me my money back? Why can't you just give me a baby bird? Why can't you just give me this? And my answer is because I don't have the budget for that. I don't have the budget. I did a favor for someone else. And that is the truth when we're dealing with rescues. I did a favor for someone else. I tried to educate you. If you want to relinquish the bird back, you're more than welcome to, because guess what? Once they relinquish the bird back to you, the bird now has less chance in going to another family, because now he's re-traumatized from going to a house and bouncing back and forth. And now I really have to work with him more, or her more, to see what the problem is and to see if I can even get her back to a state of being tame. But that is the truth about a lot of rescues. A lot of times the rescues make no money. No money. Now, some rescues do, you know, depending on how they run their business, but I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about like the consignments that I do, where they're really just a favor for the customer and things like that. It's not a matter of, oh, let me just give you your money back, or let me just do a trade. It doesn't work that way. And I really hope that a lot of rescues can get on board on really educating our I can go on and on and on and on about rescue rights. There's like so much information, but I really hope that one day, which, you know, wishful thinking, that rescues can get on board about really educating customers before letting a parrot go into their home. There is a fine line of getting to know someone and recommending that yes, they have the patience and they can go through with getting a rescue bird, or you know what, it sounds like you really want to bond with a bird and you might not have enough time to have the patience for a rescue bird. I'm just going to recommend you get a baby bird, because that's going to be the best route. Not many breeders and rescues have that mentality of educating the customer, and kudos to those rescues that really do care and pay attention. There is one rescue, I think, in Chicago. There's a lot of people who complain about them, and they're like, wow, it's so hard to get an adoption from that rescue. They ask all these questions, and they even they even ask about the space where you're going to keep the bird. And you know what? Kudos to them. I agree that's the best way, because rescue birds are not like a rescue dog or cat. It's very difficult. You need a lot of patience and you need a lot of education. And I think they're doing the right thing by trying to really feel out the customers to see if they can really take on a rescue bird. Now, I also did hear that rescue like literally goes into the house. Sometimes like they show up unannounced, and then if they don't think that the bird is in a good situation, like they actually have you sign a contract saying that they could just take the bird anytime they want. I don't quite agree with that. That's a little like extreme to me, but whatever, to each his own. Anyway, so let's see, how much time do we have yet? Dennis said that's how Merlin came to us. He was a rehome. We were actually rehoming Merlin and his little cockatoo brother. We found a great home for his umbrella cockatoo, little mate, and not mate, but his little umbrella cockatoo friend. They both came from the same household, and I promised the customers that I would find them a great home. They had a family situation that they had to deal with. They felt they weren't giving the birds the attention that they needed, and in the end I found the umbrella a great home, and I'm still looking for a home for Merlin. Who knows, he might stay with us, but in the end, if Merlin gets rehomed, we're really just making what the customers ask for them. It's not a profit situation. So like Dennis said, that's a great example of like the consignments that I used to do. Sometimes it's just a favor, and it's not necessarily a profit situation. All right. Oh wow, time went by super fast. Okay, so this episode obviously was a lot about rescues, and it was a lot about rescue situations and why you can't get refunds, and the education required for getting a rescue bird. or having the knowledge of maybe just gearing towards a baby bird. But anyway, we will see you next Saturday. Thank you for tuning in. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Royal Parrots Facebook page, share these videos. That helps us create more videos, and we really appreciate all the love and support that our customers give us. If you have any questions, feel free to bring them up, message me, message Royal Parrots. Our phone number, I'm going to make sure is listed on our Facebook and on our website, 847-695-5624. Feel free to call us to inquire about any adoptions. And I hope everyone has a great weekend, and keep it birdie. Thank you. Have a great night. Yes, I'm sorry. Before I hang up, we had a customer ask about relinquishment. Again, I want to thank everyone for trusting Royal Parrots, trusting us with your rehomes or your relinquished babies. We know it's a very tough decision. If you have, if you want to inquire about relinquishment to our sanctuary or to us, again, our phone number is 847-695-5624. You can call or text us. You can reach us on our Facebook page. You can reach us at our email, Royal Parrots, just as it sounds, Royal Parrots at AOL.com, or our Facebook page. You can message us. We are taking relinquishments, and we can help you with that as well. Keep it birdie. Have a great night.